The Bride. Let's talk about this one because I finally managed to catch up with it. I was meant to see Passenger today, but now two attempts at trying to see this film. One, that my local cinema didn't show it, and two, freaking trains were messed up and I had to go see it out of town to see it. I gave up trying to watch that movie and I'll catch up with it another time. The Bride is a Gothic romantic film, and it's based on the original Bride of Frankenstein, even though it really isn't anything like that movie. The movie was written and directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, who is the sister of Jake Gyllenhaal, who is also in this movie as well. I didn't actually know that she was a director, actually. I've seen her in a lot of roles, obviously The Dark Knight being one of them.
Please. I didn't want this. I didn't want any of this. Please. Help. Help.
The film stars Christian Bale, Peter Sarsgaard, Annette Bening, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Penelope Cruz. And like I said, the film draws inspiration from the 1935 film Bride of Frankenstein, which was based on Mary Shelley's 1818 novel Frankenstein. In 1930 Chicago, Frankenstein enlists Dr. Euphorius to create a companion, reviving a murdered woman as the bride, sparking romance, chaos, and radical social upheaval. So the story is Gothic romance and kind of like a gritty crime story as well, more like a Bonnie and Clyde than it is Frankenstein. The film explores themes of kind of female independence, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but I genuinely did not like this film. I am quite a big fan of the original. It's not my favourite movie. Bride of Frankenstein is not my favourite, but it is a classic, and this movie kind of destroys that. When she's revived, she has no memory of her past life, and Frankenstein, the monster Frankenstein, by the way, not Dr. Frankenstein, Frankenstein's monster is wanting to revive this bride for himself because he's lonely. She's actively seeking her own identity from that. And it actually becomes, I mean, I'm going to be straight up honest, I believe this movie is quite a kind of, it's got a feminist undertone to it. Even to the point where towards the end of the movie, she says, "Me too, me too." Like, it was on the nose at times, feminist. And okay, fair enough. Like, I'm not gonna fight against that. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying, oh, feminism destroyed the Bride of Frankenstein. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying what I'm seeing. The movie tries to suit a different, more modern agenda, and therefore is very different to the original movie. And the result is poor execution, an overcomplicated, messy, and batshit crazy movie that didn't appeal to me. Sometimes I think a film tries to be too arty for its own good, and that's what I think happens here. There's just moments that I don't quite understand the point of. Now, I will say the performances are fantastic here, all across the board. Really great performances, in fact. Some interesting cinematography, some really good camera work, but it feels like it's trying too hard and therefore is pretentious. An hour into the movie, it feels like we're kind of getting a wrap up and we've still got another hour to go. It just keeps going for no reason at all. It didn't really make me feel anything, and that's one of the big problems here. I was just kind of looking forward to finishing the movie. It's cliche, it's predictable at times, especially when the detectives come into play, and it's just, they just feel like very typical 1930s police and detective people. Like, they're just shells. It's like no one else in this movie matters other than our two main characters, the bride and Frankenstein, and even that doesn't really work at times. You have a side of the movie that feels fresh and unique and a bit different, and then you have another side to it which just feels like we've seen it all before. You have this weird dance segment in the ballroom, and that kind of just happens, like, hey, look how arty we can be and I want an Oscar. The movie's slow paced, and I just feel like every important piece of dialogue is suited towards the agenda of the movie. It feels more suited to a theatre production than it does a movie to me. That's what it felt like. It felt like a more of a West End show, I think. But for me as a horror fan going into this, I didn't get what I expected. And I'm sure that's probably the whole point in the movie, and that there's some crazy point that people could argue that it isn't a feminist movie, or it hasn't got this, or they did this because of this, and they made you want to think this. But in reality, it didn't make me think anything. It didn't make me feel anything. It didn't make me want to see the rest of the movie halfway through the movie, and I kind of was ready to switch off. I just bared through it and saw it to its end, and just was never was there a point where I thought, actually, there might be something to this movie. I never thought of that. And you're only ever going to get honest reviews and honest feelings out of me in a review. Just because it's like an arty movie that a lot of people like might not necessarily be what the review you get here. I expect this will probably be in my top 10 worst movies of the year. I just can't see anything being much worse than this. Honestly, it wasn't. The film on the surface wasn't bad. Like, the actual technical aspects of the movie and the performances and all that stuff was good. It was fine. But it was everything else behind it. It was like the ideals of the movie, the waving an agenda into your face of the movie. It was just disappointing as a horror fan. So much to it that I just didn't come away liking. And it's one of those things, like, I'm sorry if you think I'm wrong that I'm saying this is a feminist movie. I'd like to know what you think of that. And again, I'm not knocking the idea of feminism. I'm not knocking any of that. I'm just saying this has a feminist story behind it, or a feminist message behind it. The bride literally is always quite aggressive in her vocalization to men in the movie. She's attacked by men. She's sexually abused by men. She shouts "me too." She's constantly saying, "I'd rather not do this. I don't want to get married. I don't want this. I don't want that." If that's not a message, I don't know what is. I'd definitely say skip this movie. Like, it's not the worst ever movie I've seen, but it's also not good either. Like, it's just, I will never think about this movie again, if that makes sense. Like, it's just not my thing. And that's okay. It might be your thing. Everyone has a favorite movie. Every movie is someone's favorite movie. So if this is one of yours and you completely disagree with my review, let me know down in the comment section below. And hopefully I'll catch passenger. But I am going to go and see The Mandalorian and Grogu tonight. So expect my review later on tonight. If you liked this video, consider hitting subscribe, ring that notification bell to stay up to date with all my content here. Give me a thumbs up and give me a comment for the algorithm, because it'll push this video in the algorithm to more people, which I would very much appreciate, because YouTube is a hell of a hard thing to do right now. Thanks, guys. I'll see you with the next one. Take care of yourselves.